This is the plaintiff, Queen Avery. She says her ex-boyfriend, the defendant, owes her all kinds of money for things she paid for during their relationship, which he now refuses to repay her for. She has no other choice but to sue and is here seeking the $3,500 she's most certainly owed. This is the defendant, Johnny Nicholson. He says he doesn't owe the plaintiff any of this money because they were together in a relationship, and you know the money flows both ways. He thinks the judge will side with him today because he owes this woman nothing. He's accused of taking advantage of an ex.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Williams now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Avery, you are suing Mr. Nicholson, your former boyfriend, for $3,500 that you say he owes you in the very, very brief time that the two of you were together. Tell me what happened here.
Hi, Your Honor. So I met Mr. Nicholson in October. And then when we got together, we just were kind of like inseparable. Decided to go get a marriage license.
Wait. How long had you been dating before you decided to get a marriage license? You started dating him on October 2nd. Go ahead.
And we went and got the marriage license on October 7th. So 5 days to be precise.
5 days. You dated him 5 days?
Yes, ma'am.
5 days?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you two, both of you, decided to go get a marriage license after 5 days? Mr. Nicholson, is that accurate?
5, I say maybe like 2 weeks.
And you decide to get a marriage license?
Yeah.
Let's go with the 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's go with the 2 weeks. We decided, we've actually been in relationships that lasted, a long time, but still ended up bad. And we actually knew those people and took time to date those people. So we thought maybe if we just turn it around, do it backwards and, you know what I mean? And just get married now and hope for the best and, you know what I mean? And just do something different and maybe it would stick. I had high hopes for it. She had high hopes for it as well. But this is where we are now today.
Oh, look at that. I guess getting to know somebody's important. And I guess if you get to know them and you don't like it, it's important to know before you get married. Well, you guys didn't get married. You just ran out and got a marriage license. Like, you were just kind of thrilling yourselves. But you didn't actually get married, correct? Okay.
Right,
so
correct.
What happens? You decide to move in together. And no, actually, before that, he needs money. Okay. By the way, when you go to get the marriage license, who pays for it?
I paid for it. I have the receipt and everything.
Why didn't he put half the money?
He just didn't have the money at the time. Like we had been just saying that, like when it was time to get married, maybe he could pay for that portion or, we were going to be sharing bills anyway. So it wasn't a big deal for the $83. So just, yeah.
Okay. All right. And yet you're suing for half of that here today. Even though it wasn't a big deal at the time, you're suing for it here today and claiming he has an obligation or he had an obligation to pay for half it. All right, so now the first time he hits you up for money is when? He wants to buy a new car.
Right, yeah. So I already have a new car, so I didn't need a vehicle, but we both knew we were going to be working, so we were trying to find him a vehicle.
Did he have a vehicle?
No.
He had no car and no job?
He had a job, but then he left the job where he was at to be closer to where I was at.
So after 2 weeks of dating, you decide that he needs a new car and he can't just buy himself any old hoopty. He's got to use your credit to buy a new car. Is that correct? With no job.
Right. Under the pretenses that he was going to be able to get, with myself and the dealer, he was going to be able to get check stubs, transfer it over into his name, have full responsibility over the vehicle the whole time.
Oh, once you're on the thing, they're not going to just take your name off it. Once you're on it, you're on it. They want two people to sue. They got double the chances that somebody's working if they do that and that they'll get some money. They're not going to all of a sudden, let me give you a gift. Let me just exonerate you of all responsibility. So you is the car under your name?
Just in my name, which I foolishly believed that I was going to be able to transfer it over. We also made a deal that he was going to pay me back for the down payment. So I just, felt the dealer even himself.
So how much of a down payment did you put?
$1,000.
All right. And then the payments are $272 every 2 weeks?
Right.
All right.
Every 2 weeks.
Okay. And your theory was within a month, he was going to have enough money to put the car in his name. I don't know what magical fairyland you're living in, but okay. So on October 17th, because it's not enough excitement for your life, 2 days after buying a car, you decide to move into a one-bedroom apartment. Now, you have the good sense to just put yourself on the lease, right? Like it's just you on the lease.
Yeah.
You get the apartment, and now we're all the way to what? 30 days later, November 2nd, and you guys get into a fight. And what happens?
I don't even remember what it was about. I just remember that it was the type of situation I didn't want to be in because it was like yelling, name calling, and I just don't, I don't want to be subject to that type of behavior. So that was where I was just like, okay, big mistake. All of a sudden, signals are going off. I'm like, no. So that's when, I felt a whole different understanding about the relationship, basically. How
old are you? Can I ask that?
I'm 40.
Oh my God, you look 20-something. That's why I was asking. All right. So, so now you get into this argument, you decide, and all of a sudden your feelings just change for him. You're like, oh, I don't know if I want to be here. And what happens on November 16th, you find out that he's behind on the car payments, correct?
Right. And then around the 23rd is when I was like, I'm just going to take the car back because I don't see how I'm not going to pay for it and you're not able to pay for it. Like it's $700 almost in arrears right now. And then
so on Wednesday, November 25th, when he went to sleep, I took his car and dropped it off at a friend's house. I was so scared of how he would react. I didn't go home until Friday night. So that's Thanksgiving, right? So,
right, yeah.
So you left him without a car on Thanksgiving. And what was your reaction to that? So you ate Thanksgiving dinner alone, Mr. Nicholson?
Honestly, I didn't eat Thanksgiving dinner at all. I didn't have one lick of Thanksgiving portion. I didn't have a bean, a macaroni and cheese, a turkey, nothing. That day was devastating. She's laughing. That day was devastating because I promised my kids I would see them. So that day, I could not get a ride. I couldn't get anything, nor did I even want to be around anyone but my kids because this car had been taken away from me, which me and her made an agreement the night before. We already knew that she was going to take the car keys. She told me the day before that I can actually use the car all Thanksgiving, mind you. So she keeps saying that I owed her money. I actually had, what was it, almost $490. So I told her, if you just let me keep this car for Thanksgiving, because we already knew she was going to give the car back. I told her if she lets me use the car for Thanksgiving, she could even keep that money. But instead, the night before, I came in with a backache. Well, it wasn't a backache, excuse me. It was a neck ache. When I say I came home, Judge, when I say I came home, she played me so well. She rubbed my shoulders. She gave me some ibuprofen. She took my clothes off. She gave me a bath. I go back, I lay down. Everything's nice and cool. I end up falling asleep. She tells me, hey, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go take the car and park it in your parking space. And I'm going to go to the store. I'm half out of it. And I said, okay. She doesn't take the keys or anything. My keys been sitting there all night. I fell asleep. We both fell asleep together. So I thought. So, and I guess she takes the keys, she leaves, and she never comes back. I wake up in the morning and she's gone. It's Thanksgiving morning. I don't yell because I know that's what she expects me to do. I say, hey, where are you at? I need to go see my kids. She says, well, if you want the car, you need to call the locksmith to get into that car because I'm not coming back there. So I'm just telling you that story just to say it's not like, oh, I didn't have money or I just left the car note undone. I went and scraped up money, gave her $300.
But you were behind. No, but the deal is, listen, why are you buying a car that you can't afford? Don't buy it. And don't buy it in someone else's name or you're going to ruin their credit. Having said that, why are you so cold? Thanksgiving, you couldn't wait until the Friday to do this? Like, why you got to do it in Thanksgiving? That was crazy. So the Friday after Thanksgiving, you get back home. And when you get in there, you find out that he and all of his belongings are gone, correct?
Correct.
Including some of your belongings. According to you, your 27-inch iMac is gone, which you've had for about a year, and a TV, a 37-inch TV that you'd had about 6 months was gone. Is that correct?
Right, yes.
Right. So do you talk to him, and does he tell you that he took those things?
So I sent a message because he was asking for the money. So I sent a message.
What money was he asking for? I don't understand. You're out money because he was driving a car and still owed money on it. So why are you contemplating? Because I see in the text that you're saying you'll get your money. Why are you paying him money? I don't get it.
Well, really, I was giving him his money back because I was scared. Like, he intimidated me. That's how I felt.
It's the money I gave her for the car note.
Yeah, I know, but you were behind. So the money that you just gave her, in your mind, give me that back if you're taking the car. But that's money you already owed before that. So you end up cash apping him some of that money?
Right, $100, because I'm thinking like, okay, he is still at my home. I don't know what he's capable of because I've seen his behavior. So I know,
that's why if you're a very impatient woman, you meet a guy, you date him for 5 days, you want a marriage certificate. You tell him he can have the car a couple of days, and you can't extend that 1 day to cover Thanksgiving. It's just in any event, it doesn't matter. What I've got to decide is what you're entitled to and what you're not entitled to. Let's go over it. So according to her, when you left and booked and took all your stuff, you also took her TV and her iMac. Is that accurate?
No, I didn't. So when I left that house, which I even explained to her, that neighborhood that we live in is a heavily drug-infested neighborhood. People know what you're doing before you do it. I left that house that day of Thanksgiving, like that night. She came back like 4 days later. Her door's wide open. I don't know who could have walked in that house and took whatever. I took my belongings.
You didn't have a key?
No, the key was on the car key ring that she took.
Oh. So you had no way to lock the door. So you took her, admit to taking her iMac.
No.
Why haven't you given it back?
I did bring it back. I brought it back to the house after that. Like the next day when I told her I'll bring the iMac back.
Did he return the iMac?
Me the money.
No.
Okay, but she didn't cash app you the money. So you have any evidence you brought the iMac back? Because that's the first time I'm hearing you say that.
She hadn't been back for 4 days. I brought the iMac back the next day when I had to come back to get my toolbox.
Next day. No.
No, the next day she didn't come back home. She didn't come back. She didn't come back.
The next day she texts. Well, then how does she know you stole the iMac?
Right.
The next day. That wasn't the next day. It wasn't the next day.
Yes, it was.
It was like 3 days later.
Okay. I need you to stop talking. Go ahead, ma'am.
There are text messages that say, I took your computer. And then after I said, well, I'm going to take you to court. I have evidence against you. So I sent him the text message saying, I took your computer so no one else would take it. Directly after that, then he says, no, I brought it back. But why didn't you say that
I'm looking
in the
at the
first
text.
place?
That's exactly right. Do you have the receipt for the iMac?
I don't.
What about the TV? Did you also take the TV?
No, I didn't take that at all. It's right here next to me. I have my own 55-inch that my mother gave to me the day me and her got together. Why would I take it? I have everything.
Because she did you dirty and
I don't
took
care.
the car
No, she
and left you wheelless on Thanksgiving.
Hey, she's already got done dirty. This is the way she's got dirty. Because guess what? The job that I was supposed to get, I've been making $18.50 every day since. And guess what? I have my own car now, so it's okay. She's gonna get that back later on. I don't think that's gonna make her feel bad about you guys breaking up. It doesn't matter though.
Make her feel bad, right? Okay. So I find that you still have the iMac. I see very clearly that you just say that when she's showing you pictures of you admitting to the iMac. So I'm going to order you to pay her. She doesn't have a receipt to prove the age of the iMac. I'm going to order you to pay her $1,000 for the iMac. I am also going to, I do find that since I find you lying about the iMac, I also find you lying about the TV. But you don't even know the brand. That's how bad you are. So you have no idea. You can't give me any evidence of how old it is or anything else. So I'm going to give a depreciated value for the TV, which is nominal of $100. I find that he owes you for the 2 car payments that you had to pay while he was driving it around, that he was behind, and that's $544. He certainly doesn't owe you for half of the marriage license that you were so happy to pay for. He doesn't owe you for emotional distress. That's you. Wow, you got You got some nerve. Emotional distress and harassment. But he does owe you for the things that I just said, which is a total judgment in your favor in the amount of $1,644. Did you learn anything?
A lot. Yep.
What'd you learn?
Yes.
What'd you learn?
Basically, not to put my trust in anybody or not to help people. So
well, you could put your trust in people, but maybe you don't like hand over your bank account, your credit, and your life in 5 days. Maybe that's what you don't do. All right, sure. $1,644 verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff does get a judgment for $1,600, just over $1,600. Mr. Nicholson, the judge asked Queen Avery what she has learned, if anything. Let me ask you the same question. Have you learned anything from this experience?
Yes, I did. Get things for myself and not depend on anyone else to do it for me.
All right. And I guarantee you won't be getting a marriage license after knowing somebody for just 5 days or 2 weeks, right? In the future?
No, none. Not at all. Not at all.
Queen Avery, let me ask you how you feel about the judge's decision.
She's great. So she always judges fairly, in my opinion.
All right. Well, very good. All right. So you've prevailed, and it's all over now, right? Between the two of you? For sure. Positive, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't need that type of negativity and disrespect around me, so I'm great.
All right. Good enough. Good luck to you. Okay? That'll wrap it up for this very intriguing case. Let's see what the judges have to say now.
All kinds of hard lessons dished out in the wake of this unfortunate, brief relationship, right?
Yeah, some of them are pretty easy. Like they don't really need too much learning.
No, I suppose not. Like, for example, if you have good credit, don't extend it on behalf of someone else who maybe doesn't, unless you want to just flush it down the toilet, unless you're ready to throw it away.
I don't know what everybody's thinking.
You know, he took his lumps too. Yeah, Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah. Wait, one day, you know?
Yeah, it really was. Well, you know, wise men say, right, only fools rush in. Isn't that our wedding
that's
song?
our wedding song, actually.
Something like that. So maybe they shouldn't have quite rushed into this the way they did, right?
So Tammy wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, my son passed away at 39 years old. Can I sue his father, my ex, for half the funeral costs? Boy, we have had these cases before. And look, I'm going to tell you when there's a clear answer, and I'm going to tell you when there isn't. There is no clear answer to this question. If you voluntarily made arrangements for the funeral without contacting the other person, I think you're going to have trouble. On the other hand, if you call the other person in advance and say, we need to agree on this, and he just refuses, I think you have a much better case.